Hello everyone, it's Bliss. Today I'm doing a new kind of video for me. Obviously, it's my first voiceover and it's honestly kind of exciting. Anyways, today I'm doing an unboxing video. I pretty recently got an art set as a gift and I'm going to be opening it for the first time and going through all of the parts. So, hope you enjoy and let's get right into it. So this set is a sketch and draw artist set from Penally Quality Art Materials. It has 100 pieces. As you can see, it has an aluminum carry case. The clear part is some sort of plastic that's slightly flexible. Like if I squeeze on the case, the plastic dips in, but it's still pretty sturdy. Like I said, the set includes 100 pieces, and there's like a lot of varying parts like oil pastels, sketch pencils, colored pencils, charcoal sticks, soft charcoal sticks, black willow charcoals, a soft eraser, a kneaded eraser, a pencil sharpener, a sandpaper block, a blending stump, and sketch papers. And so the first two things that I could see as I was opening the box were the oil pastels and the colored pencils. So I noticed there were no numbers or names or anything on the colored pencils to identify them. So I've used colored pastels just one time in my life before this. So I was used to how easily the pigment came off on my finger and on the box. So I was finished with the first half of the box and I put it down ready for the next part. Whoa. So this was the bag of the sketch papers. There were 33 papers, and feeling them, they were a little bit thicker and a little bit rougher than normal paper as sketch papers go. And I remember thinking at the time that perhaps they weren't as thick as some other sketch papers might be. So as I started looking at this second part of the box, it took me a second to realize that there was a part that was missing. And then I realized it had just fallen out of the box. It was right there. So the first part I was looking at was the blending stump, and it was a lot harder than the ones I've used before. Then I took out the sandpaper block and just looked at it. More about that later. So at this point, I was really just pulling out the parts and looking at them. So I looked at the little pencil sharpener and the eraser. And here I was looking at the kneaded eraser. So I was familiar with these erasers because I've used them before. In case you don't know what it is, it's a really stretchy Play-Doh-like eraser that's really good for details. So here I was looking at the next part, which I was actually kind of confused looking at because I've never seen anything quite like it. It turns out they were charcoal sticks, but I thought it was some sort of graphite because of the way it looked. So yeah, there were several parts that I hadn't seen before. For example, the little identification letters and numbers on the charcoal sticks. And from top to bottom, those were HB, then B, 2B, 4B, 6B, 8B, and then hard, medium, and soft. And so I was waiting until I actually tried them out to see what exactly the difference was between them. So moving on to the sketch pencils, they also had these little identification letters on them that I had not seen before. So I noticed that some of the sketch pencils had the same identification numbers and letters as the charcoal sticks. And from top to bottom, these were 5H, 4H, 3H, 2H, H, HB, B, 2B, 3B, 4B, 5B, and 6B. So the last part of the set that I was eventually going to test was the willow charcoal, which was right there. So I took one of the included sketch papers to test on, and I decided to start with the sketch pencils. So I started with the bottom one first, 6B, and I tested each one all the way up to 5H. So as I was testing these out, I was really confused about what the difference was. I couldn't really tell difference going down from 6B, 5B, 4B, 3B, 2B. Those were all very similar, but when I hit B, I noticed it started to get a lot lighter. And then down to HB, the H's, 2H, I realized that the pencil was a lot thinner feeling. And then the color was a lot lighter. You probably can't tell, but it was a lot lighter. And because of how thin it got, it was a lot harder to put pigment down. So when I looked up the difference between the little classification numbers and letters, I found out that the thinness that I had encountered was actually just the graphite, the pencil lead, becoming harder. So the B in like 6B and 5B stands for blackness. And then the H in like the 2H and the 3H stands for hardness. So in the 6B, the lead is very soft. And so it's easier to color and get a darker color. However, in the H's, where the pencil lead is very hard, it is harder to put down color. Here I tested the sharpener, and it was a pretty good standard sharpener, and I had to test it off camera over a trash can because obviously that would make a mess. So even when the 6B pencil was sharpened, it was easy to see the difference between it and the 5H pencil. So next I decided to test the colored pencils, and I was kind of impressed with how soft they were because the ones I had been using before were a lot harder and I guess waxier because when you use them they would reflect light a lot more, so it wouldn't look really smooth. These ones were a lot smoother. And so I imagined that it would be really good at blending. So I was looking forward to using them in drawings, and hopefully you'll see these come up in future videos and we'll see how well they do in actual drawings. Oh, and I also tried layering the colored pencils, and no, it layers so well. So next up were the oil pastels, and I mentioned that I'd used color pastels before, but these were soft pastels that I had used, and they're a bit similar, so I wasn't too unfamiliar with how the oil pastels would feel on paper. So basically it's just very easy to put the pigment of the oil pastel down on the paper. And I liked how compared with the sketch pencils, there were a lot more color choices to choose from. Next, I decided to try out the charcoal, and the first one that I used was the willow charcoal, which is just a really soft and easy to break charcoal. It's the little tiny sticks of charcoal, and it's also really easy to erase. Then I just went down and started using the other charcoals. So I tested those from the top to the bottom. So from HB to 8B, those were the 6 charcoal sticks that was listed in the list of items in this box. And then there were 3 soft charcoal sticks. Those were just marked hard, medium, and soft. And as I tried them all out, I realized that the classification system was pretty similar to the graphite pencils as far as the hardness, the blackness, and just how dark you could make the color. For example, at the top, it seemed harder, and as you went down, it got softer and darker. Next, I just really wanted to check out the blending stump, and so I used it on all the different parts. I used it first on the charcoal, and it blended really well. I used it on the colored pencils, but they didn't work. I did not try it on the pastels. I did try it on the graphite as well, the graphite pencils, and it smudged really well. So next, I tried out the eraser. And there's not much to say about it. It erased pretty well. So I moved on then to the kneaded eraser. I pulled a little part of it off and I tried it out again just to demonstrate it. And like I said, it would be good for detailing and things like that. So the last part that I looked at was the sandpaper block that I said I was going to come back to. And it was a little bit funny because I had to look up what it was for, even though I've been seeing it for so many years. The sandpaper block is used for sharpening pencils, cleaning pastels, cleaning erasers, things like that. And yeah, that was it. So I really hope you enjoyed this video, and bye!